Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. As you probably have noticed, I'm actually in a very different studio today, and that's because tomorrow I will be tracking drums for the thrash band that I recently joined called Beyond Salvation. I'm super excited to be tracking for these guys. I've played with them a few times live, but I've never actually been in the studio with them before, so this is the first time for me. So like I say, yeah, I'm super excited for that. We've got some seriously cool songs coming your way very soon. We're actually doing two brand new ones that I've co-written with them. And then we've got one that we're doing that's an old song of theirs, but we're kind of redoing it because I do my own interpretation of that song. So they thought it was really cool and they wanted to add it to this new EP. But of course, that's not the reason for this video. In fact, today, we're going to be doing a video that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. I've just never really had the opportunity, never found the time. So today we're going to be unboxing the Mapex Black Panther Predator. This was a snare that I actually got for free. It was a part of a promotion. When you buy one of the new Mapex Evolution kits, you get a Black Panther for free. It was an amazing deal and I just couldn't say no. Now you guys have seen the new Mapex kit on the channel a little while ago. I did a couple of drum covers with it. It's the gunmetal grey one with the one up, one down. It's a fantastic sounding kit, but I actually use that one for New Rocks, which is my covers band. I normally use that one for that project, but for the last gig that we did, I actually used this setup, and this was my BDC kit, but only as a 2 up, 1 down. Now, it's actually been that long since I got this snare, I can't remember its sizes or its configurations exactly. So I will flash them up on screen right now. Here's all the specifications, and let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed. So one thing that I do remember about this is the fact that it's a copper snare. Now, I've never owned a copper snare before. I don't think I've ever actually really played one. I may have played one at like a drum show, but certainly not one that I've owned and played maybe, you know, at a gig or in a studio or something like that, and really got to just get to grips with how they sound. It's kind of suction cupped in there. That was a bit more difficult than I'd like to admit. Right, so we've got some more specifications on here. Like I say, you'll have seen them already, but I'm going to read them out anyway. So it's 14 by 6, 1.2 millimeter seamed copper, which that sounds pretty cool. 2.3 millimeter snare bed with a 5.5 inch width. Now I'm not quite sure why they're mixing imperial with metric measurements, but oh well. Rolled molded sonic clear bearing edges at 45 degrees, inline locking B-lugs for air vents. Ooh, that's gonna be loud then. Sonic saver hoops. The sound is overall deep and dark. That's kind of what I was going for with this one. I wanted to tune it maybe just a little bit lower, but I still wanted it open. So it's kind of bright but low and dark. There's a particular sound that I've got in my head for this. I want you to see it if it turns out that way. Bloody hell, how many boxes? This thing is heavy. Comes in a nice little sleek bag. So we've got this very black, velvety, kind of suede sort of bag. Oh, that's looking very nice already. Now I know that the lighting in here isn't fantastic. I will color grade this as best I possibly can, but you are going to get some B-roll with this. I'll overlay that shortly. That is a gorgeous looking snare.
So straight out of the box, this didn't exactly sound fantastic, probably down to the factory heads. I did tune it up to my normal standards. Like I tuned the bottom head like super high and then kind of do the top head to a tone that I think is relevant for the actual snare itself. For the examples that you saw in that video, I did tune it ever so slightly lower just because I wanted a slightly darker tone to the whole thing. That being said, with this just being an unboxing and kind of a first look review, I will be taking another look at this at some point in the future now that I have swapped out the factory heads for Evans. But the question is this a snare that we can use straight out of the box? And the answer is yes. I think as long as you're able to tune it correctly and maybe use a little bit of a control gel, you can get a really good sound of this straight out of the box. I really do feel that the snare has the potential to be quite a diverse sounding snare, so you can use it in different types of music, but I also think that that's going to really depend on the type of heads that you use and the type of tunings. But overall, what I've heard from the snare so far has actually been very impressive. I think it's got a really nice tone to it. It's kind of bright in some respects, but darker in others. Again, I think the tuning's going to really affect that much more. After I recorded the intro for this video in that studio where I was recording for Beyond Salvation, we actually ended up using this snare on some of the tracks. So fingers crossed you are going to hear this snare in action very soon. Watch out for the Beyond Salvation updates. Personally, I really do think that wood snares and metal snares have two very separate applications. If you want something that's kind of a bit more warm and a little bit more well-rounded, go for a wood snare. You're going to get that with things like birch, and if you want something a bit more open, maple's always a good choice. That being said, if you want to go for something that's a little bit more hard-hitting, that's got that metallic sound, I know it's kind of obvious, but if you want something that's a little bit, not harsh exactly, but a little bit more forthcoming, a little bit louder, then go for a metal snare. In my opinion, I think copper does have a little bit more of a subdued sound rather than something like stainless steel. It's a little bit louder, a little bit more harsh. And that wasn't exactly the tone that I was going for with the Beyond Salvation recordings. I actually took 4 snares to that session, and one of them was a brass, one of them was a beech over birch, another one was a birch and oak mix, and then the other one was this copper snare. And we did a blind test. We tested out all 4 snares, recorded them. I went back into the control room, and then we did a blind test and listened to each one of the takes. And everybody was unanimous that this was the snare that we were going to use. I would like to point out though that this was after I changed the head out to the Evans. So when the examples that you saw in this video, that was after I changed it back. But that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what your first thoughts of this snare are in the comment sections below. See you in the next one. Bye guys.